Welcome to the Mentor Podcast, where the most highly motivated entrepreneurs come to get their weekly dose of financial stability with host Ron LeGrand, as well as other nationally recognized thought leaders who will teach you how to get, grow, and protect your wealth.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Ron LeGrand back with another episode of the Mentor Podcast, designed to help you make more money faster, keep more of it, take less risk along the way, and retire filthy, stinking rich. Man, do I have a guest here you want to hear from today. This guy is on track to do over 200 houses this year alone, and literally started just a few years ago and has built the empire to where it is today. His name is Don Costa, and you got to hear what he does. Don, you there?
I am. I'm here.
Okay. So listen, I don't know anybody that knows more about you than you. So tell us who you are, what you do, and give us an idea of what we're going to hear from you today.
Well, I'm from Fresno, California. I am a rehabber by nature. I actually got a quick start in 2003 doing knocking on doors and doing subject to deals. Made a lot of money that way, and then lost it in the crash. I was kind of foolish and arrogant and thought the money was never going to end, and got educated really well.
It's not your fault, man. You're a man. It's testosterone. It's not your fault.
It was youth and testosterone, I went through a period of time of just being broke and hustling and trying to hold everything together and being proud of myself for holding everything together and fooling myself into thinking that I was holding everything together. And I had a few moments happen to me that woke me up and made me realize that I needed to do better for my family, that my family deserved better. And I looked in the mirror and took a self-assessment of who I was and realized that I was really good at identifying a deal and put the pieces together to make it happen. And that was really my only option at the time. I couldn't get a job. I'm sure a lot of people remember in 2010, 11, 2009, it was almost impossible to get a job. And so I put a company together to flip and rehab houses. In 2012 is when we basically got our start, and I've been rehabbing since. So it's been a good fun ride.
So I know it says here that you are going on track to do over 200 houses this year. So are they wholesale? Are they rehabbing? What are they?
So
what deals you doing?
They're a combination. So basically up until this year, all I did was rehab. I did maybe 1 or 2 or 3 wholesales a year. I was a rehabber. I felt like I had to add value to make money. In 2018, I basically took and repositioned people in my company and moved one of my guys to dispositions. We said we'd take on wholesale. So about 40% of what we're going to do in 2018 is going to end up being wholesale transactions with a mix of wholesales in there where we basically actually close on them and then put them back on the market without touching them.
All right, well, stop. You better explain that word, wholesale.
Wholesale. Oh, so basically the new term, I guess, is wholesale, where you buy it, but you don't touch it. Now, some people will clean them out. You might do minor repairs and you put it back on the market and you just resell it without doing a full rehab. So,
but you resell it closer to retail than wholesale. That's why it's called wholesale.
To a certain degree, yeah. If the house is now, there's 2 versions of it for us. If the house is in a good enough condition that a retail customer can buy it, then yeah, you sell it close to retail or even at retail sometimes. But we also have the situation where there's people who are willing to pay way more than it doesn't even make sense as to why. And
smart investors.
Smart investors.
Got it.
And so we'll buy.
Usually because they're going to live in it, though. Is that not your experience?
No, it's like I had one. The first one we did, the foundation was crumbling, the roof was falling in. We bought it where we needed to do it. My project manager wanted nothing to do with it, so we stuck it on the market. We made $32,000 on the property, and wholesaling it, and to another investor who I have no clue how they're going to make money.
So you probably sold it to somebody watching too much reality TV, right?
Oh yeah.
No idea what they're doing.
For sure.
Okay. You know what? How come I know what the definition of wholesaling is?
How's that?
Because I coined the phrase.
Did you? Okay. Well,
yes.
Good.
Okay. So you wholesale some and you put it on the market and you wholesale others, which is still an all cash sale with no banks involved because the bank wouldn't finance an ugly house.
Right.
And then you rehab some.
We rehab some.
That means you buy them when you rehab a house, what would be your average profit on those, Don?
This year we're falling around $50,000. We're cherry picking our rehabs more this year. Yeah, per house. Last year our average is about 40.
And what price range house is that you're selling?
So we're not like most of California where it's inflated. Our median house value sits around 250. We try to stay in first time buyer, second time buyer price points. So our average all in on a project is about 150. Our average ARV after repair value is about 200. But we do have some where we sell at the 250, 300 mark. I do stay away from high end in my market as much as possible.
Very nice. That's not much different than my market and most markets for that matter.
No, we're not.
My median's about 190 now, and I'm in Florida. So yeah, people would expect you to have much higher dollars out there. All right, when you wholesale a house, what's your average profit on those?
Right now we're sitting around 30.
30,000
wholesaling. I've had some big ones, but I've had some small ones. Yeah.
Okay, so that's your average now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I'm letting our listeners do the math and multiply this out. I'm giving them a chance to do this in their head. So you're doing okay. You're making a couple of bucks, right?
I'm not hurting, right. and we had three back-to-back wholesales that were 6-figure assignment fees. One of them was technically a wholesale, but this month we had 3 of them that were $100,000 each. So I'm not complaining.
All right. Well, the next question I know everybody's asking is where are you getting these deals from? Are they MLS? Are they FSBO? Or are they both?
Everything we do is off market. I don't really pay attention to the MLS anymore. I think our market, like a lot of markets, it just gets bid up crazy. That's why when
FSBOs.
It's FSBOs, direct to seller marketing. We do a tremendous amount of postcard marketing in our market. We're kind of being 200 deals a year, we're kind of a beast. We do everything kind of on steroids. But,
right. Well, you have to get that many deals. Fresno is not that big.
No.
What's your population size in all your entire market you work?
So the Fresno County is about 500,000, and then we're less than just under 1 million for the entire kind of area that I've been in the last handful of years working. But we've expanded to a couple other markets. So like we do 6 cities in the Bay Area right now that's been doing really well for us, and a couple of areas down south that have been doing really well. They're larger markets.
Well, I got to tell you, you got to have a heck of a machine to do that many deals in a city that small. I don't care where you're at. Mm-hmm. So look, you could be like most people and do a handful of deals a year, or you could do 200 a year. What is the difference, Don? What makes you different than everybody else that's, of course, not coming anywhere close to that?
I don't think
do different.
I think, I'm not different. I'm not any smarter than anybody else. I think the only difference is that I got out of my own way. There are things, first and foremost, I built a team. I have about 14 people on my team right now. I have 3 people answering the phones. I have 6 people going out on appointments, meeting with sellers. I have 1 dispositions guy, 2 project managers. We have a separate company, a sister company. It's a real estate company that has agents and they're responsible for doing all our ARVs, our after repair values. So I built a team and then I got out of their way. That's first and foremost. Like I don't interfere.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
You don't know this, but I have a book on the market called "The Less I Do, the More I Make." I'm preaching your sermon all the time, man. Yeah. Get the hell out of your own way. Men don't want to hear the fact that they ain't all that important. That anybody can do what we do, and it doesn't take that much training to replace ourselves. So, literally, what do you do all day? You don't just think and watch your business.
Basically, yeah. I do podcast stuff. I do, I look at different marketing channels. I'm part of some mastermind groups. I think education is extremely important. I'm always trying to educate myself. Being around people who are like-minded and going the same direction, I think is extremely important. It's been huge in my success is just surrounding myself with people who think like I do. Yep. Because as you start to grow in business, you're the people, your friends and family don't usually go with you, and their thought process isn't where aligned with you, and that can actually bring you back down if you're not careful. So I try to make sure that I surround myself with people who are going the same direction, and then I just try not to break anything. Really, I try not to mess anything up at the office. I do come up with crazy ideas, and we implement my ideas here and there as they are deemed appropriate. But I try not to break anything.
You sound like me giving the same speech. You know that, don't you?
Do I? That's good.
My company's called Global Publishing. We're in the real estate training business. And frankly, all I do here is teach some, and I write a little and show up and create chaos at the crack of noon or so whenever I feel like it.
Right.
In other words, I don't run the company. 50, 60, I don't even know how many employees here. But I've gotten out of the way a long time ago. And I know that's a hard thing for men because they want to be controlling everything and make all the decisions. And frankly, that's the reason in not succeeding, if that's the case. So I'm with you, man. I got several businesses, and if I have to show up for work every day, I don't want the businesses.
Right.
So you've got this thing on autopilot. You got other people doing it. They know what to do. You just watch them, make sure that they continue doing it, or replace them if they don't, and create the big picture and make sure everybody's part of it. About the size of it.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I'm very big on teaching and coaching and developing your team. I think that a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we want to plug and play people. I look for opportunities to teach and coach, and that's the other thing I think I do with my organization that keeps me busy is I look for teaching moments. I let them make mistakes and I guide them and coach them when they make mistakes because I feel like they're going to learn more from them. And I feel like I just feel like my team, the culture and the strength of my team is been the reason why I can have moments where I'm bored or not here and doing other things.
So Don, you're telling me we can't just hire people and put them in a chair and tell them what to do and then fire them if they don't do what they didn't know what to do? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah,
I got to train them. Crap.
Yeah, we have a responsibility to guide them. Yeah, we have a responsibility to coach them and guide them and set the expectation and have the hard conversations. And you have to do that.
Yeah. We hope for a magic pill though. So we got to know what medias do you use to attract all these sellers?
So
you do direct mail.
I do direct mail. So I built my business on networking. First and foremost, I was broke. I was going to the gas station, buying a gallon of gas at a time, broke. I was going to the grocery store where the calculator broke in 2012 when I started back up.
I remember, man. I remember.
It was hard.
Yeah.
I had $1 million judgment against me. I wasn't going to get bank financing. It just was, it was a tough place. I had no money to market. And so I went out and I used OPM. And OPM isn't other people's money. OPM is other people's marketing to me. That's how I use OPM. And so if I saw a bandit sign, a Craigslist post, I was calling them. I was introducing myself. My name's Don. Are you a cash buyer or wholesaler? If you're a cash buyer, great. Maybe we can partner on some things together. If you're a wholesaler, fantastic. I'm looking for properties. And I just did that religiously day in and day out until I started building this momentum. And that actually brought me a lot of deals for years. I'd have an agent that'd bring me 2 or 3 deals a year. Well, if I had 10 of those, right, that's 30 deals a year. So, and I built that network. And so that network and all the other marketing channels, we shook every bush up until 2018. Now I'm trying to pull myself out of the business completely. And my network isn't transferring over completely to my team. They're transferring over, but not like they were with me. So we're implementing heavier on the other marketing sources. And what I do is I double down on one until I got it just ironclad. And so for the last 8 months, all we've done besides, our network is direct mail. And that's what's been feeding my business. So that's the only marketing channel I turned on for 2018. So people out there are saying direct mail is dead. It's not. It's done good for me. So
only the people who don't understand direct mail think it's dead, Don.
Mm-hmm.
That's mostly internet geeks.
Right. You have to track your numbers. You have to know your numbers. You have to test. You have to test the list. You have to test the pieces. It takes homework. It takes paying attention. But if you figure out, like I'm in multiple markets and every market's a little different, when you crack that market, you just pour fuel on that fire and it's over.
You mail postcards or letters or both?
I'm postcards because I want to hit as many people as I can for the dollar. And postcards are the cheapest way of doing that. I've also found that in my particular market, they perform a little better. I know there's areas in the Midwest and the East Coast where letters will perform better. And I think that's may have something to do with the culture of the area. So, but I'm really heavy postcards. I feel like I'm getting more bang for my buck in my market.
How much money would you say you spend a month on marketing?
Well, okay. So this year I have spent about $250,000 on direct mail. The last that's it. The last 2 months have been my heaviest months.
That's not a lot for the quantity of business you're doing. That's not a lot at all.
No, it's not. I mean, I've sent out almost 600,000 postcards for that. And right now I'm averaging about 100,000 postcards a month. I've got a really good deal. I got a really good rate from my provider. And, I mean, it's when, I'm bringing in about $11 for every dollar I spend in direct mail. So,
that formula will work in any business, sir.
Absolutely. I can't complain.
All right. Let's stop there for a minute. guys, if you're listening, listen to what he just said. He knows how many dollars he's getting for every dollar he spends on marketing. It is amazing to me how many so-called entrepreneurs have no clue what it costs them to get a customer or what that customer's worth after they get it. They're just absolutely clueless. I honestly don't know how they could ever think they could succeed in a business when they don't even know there's simple numbers like that. So anytime I can spend $1 and get back 11, I'm going to spend it. I just need to spend more dollars. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
So absolutely. That's really a good rate of return. So, but you got, when you drive in, you got staff to take the inbound calls, and you got staff there to follow up on them and go out and get the deals where there's deals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea about how many calls you would take from sellers to get into one deal?
It depends on the list. Like, I do equity range lists, and I micro track my list. I'm like really crazy nerdy on it. So I just want to be preference that.
So
like,
are we.
Yeah, I break up, 100% its own list, a different equity range its own list. So like 100%, I get a 0.483% response rate, but it takes me 30 calls to get a deal. And then I have another equity range that gets me actually double the response rate. It's like a 0.875% response rate, but it takes me 45 calls to get a deal. So it depends on the list. Yeah.
Yeah. Which it always will.
Yeah.
Two biggest and most important things in direct mail are the list, which is the most important, and the letter.
Right.
And then next is how you're going to deliver it. So you got that nailed. So you got to get 30 calls to get a deal on the average then. Oh my goodness, you got to make 30 calls to get one deal.
Right.
What's a normal deal worth?
Well,
50 grand?
Yeah. I mean, if we're rehabbing it's 50, and for wholesaling it, we're about 30 right now.
So that means you're making well over $1,000 every time you get a no, aren't you?
Pretty much.
You just need more no's, Don.
Right.
Okay. So I know you didn't start with this team. So back when you were just getting started, what did it look like in 2012 when Don was deciding he's going to get serious?
In 2012, I was broke. I actually put a post on Craigslist. It's the craziest thing. I didn't know how I was going to get the money to do deals. I just knew I wanted to do deals. And the post read basically that I wanted to flip houses, that I knew, basically how to do it, and that you needed to be close enough to have a cup of coffee to respond. I didn't want somebody from, another country responding that their uncle died and they had $1 million in a bedroom for me. So, I had 6 people call. I had one person, basically that I ended up talking to at Starbucks for days and days and days. And this guy talked and talked and talked. Nicest guy ever. But I couldn't close him to commit to fund me on deals. And I was sitting there, and I got a text from my wife that my water had been shut off. I had 2 boys at the time. And my wife texted me that our water had been shut off while I was talking to him. And I just remember that moment, like, I can go home and deal with the problem, or I can get the commitment from this guy. And that kind of lit the fire in my belly to get the commitment. And I got the commitment for him to fund me. And I went out and I actually got one deal off the MLS and did one. And then I brought some friends in. I painted the picture of what the company was going to be. One of them was a broker. One of them was a manager that I wanted to be a project manager, and I couldn't pay them, but I promised them that I would pay them well once we got this thing going. And so a couple months later, we bought 2 more. We bought 1, then we bought 3, and it just kind of started to grow. And it's all really, just from taking action and moving and willing it,
What it was from, sir, was hunger. We all hit a turning point in our life where something bad happens, and it just forces us to make a decision. Mine was couldn't even buy my wife a wash machine after coming home all dirty and nasty every day. Couldn't even buy her a wash machine. Couldn't even buy her a new wash machine to wash my filthy clothes. Geez, we'd already been married 17 years. And I got up next morning and said, I ain't doing this crap anymore, just like you just did.
Right.
So your turning point was your water got shut off, amongst other things that were not good going on in your life back then.
Oh, I had a bunch of turning points. Yeah.
So, I know, me too. So basically, it was just a commitment, is what it amounts to. I'm going to do this, come hell or high water. I'm going to go to the island and set the ship on fire so I can't get off the island. I'm either going to do it or die on my sword. And that's the kind of commitment that it takes. And my God, if you make that commitment, you'll actually wind up doing it if you stay with something long enough to make it effective and keep learning as you go, as you certainly did. Because you started with nothing, and then you got a little, then you got a little bit more, and you got a little bit more, and you funded your growth as you started doing deals.
Absolutely.
And here you are today. Look at you today. My goodness. So what's next? What happens when you replace yourself totally? What are you going to do now?
That's a fantastic question. I'm one of those ADD entrepreneurs that always wants to be building something. That's what I love to do. So, we're getting into commercial, we're getting into, I just did an investment in some storage, self-storage, stuff like that. So, I guess on to bigger and better things, I love interacting with people and helping and watching them grow. So, who knows? Sky's the limit.
And you love teaching too, don't you?
I love teaching. I do. I enjoy it.
You'd probably love it even more if you got paid for it, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, what's next. What's next is you're going to start your information marketing company and start teaching what you know and getting paid for doing it and helping a lot of other people along that need your help. I've had this conversation with an awful lot of people in the past, and many of them are out there in multi-million-dollar businesses of their own right now.
Right.
Start by doing, and then you start by giving back. So commercial property is also something certainly worth changing. Of course, I've always done that. In fact, I teach it. I do a boot camp on that every single year. But I'm more of a generalist than a specialist. I know there's a lot of folks out there doing the self-storage right now. It's kind of a hot thing in our marketplace,
right?
Which is good. But I think you're heading in the right direction. Take some of this money and build assets that generate income. And pretty soon you'll be so filthy, stinking rich, your relatives all hate you if they don't already.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the direction it's going.
That's a good thing, ain't it?
I go to family meetings and no one talks to me anymore. No, but I'm just kidding.
Well, frankly, is that your fault or their fault? Is that because you don't have anything to talk about with them, or what? Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. You remind me so much of me. So, if you had one piece of advice to give everybody listening right now, all this stuff you learned, what would it be?
Get out of your own way. And that's all the way across the board. I think that translates from getting started, get out of your own way. Look, it's scary at every level. I made a big investment by restructuring my company at the beginning of this year, and I doubled down on marketing. I hired a handful of people that I basically doubled my team, and it was scary. I did it, and I knew I had confidence in myself that I was going to be able to throw it against the wall, find the cracks, build the systems out to fill the cracks. And it paid off. So at every level there's fear, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And that's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be scared, but it's not okay not to take action. So get out of your own way and take action. And then as you build your team, get out of your own way there too. And let them, have confidence you to develop the person into who they need to be, and just let them do what they do for you. So, across the board, get out of your own way.
But also having some patience along the way to give them a chance to succeed, which is something that a lot of entrepreneurs don't ever learn. They don't, when you hire somebody, somebody's got to take time to train them. And I know that sucks. As a boss, nobody wants to train, but if you don't take that time and set it aside and work with them daily until they get it, you're not going to ever build a team that you can get out of the way from.
Right.
Because there's always great big old gaps there. So what you learn the hard way is automate, systemize, and delegate.
Automate, systemize, and then get out of the way, and be okay with failure. If your team makes a mistake or you make a mistake, look, I fail every day. I am a very, very proud failure because every mistake I have made has made me a better husband, a better father, a better businessman. It's made me stronger. It's made me who I am and able to do what I do today. And so I'm not scared of mistakes anymore. And I feel like my team, I do watch to make sure it's not going to be like a costly mistake, right? I'm not silly or stupid, but
got it.
But I allow them to make a decision. Even sometimes when I see that they're going for the brick wall, I'll still allow them to make that decision, and we'll sit down and go, okay, what'd you learn from this? Why didn't it work out?
You sound like me, man.
Yeah.
I swear it's me talking. I've had these conversations so many times with folks. You're absolutely dead on. You got to be willing. Not a mistake that will take you out. Couldn't agree with you more.
Right.
There aren't too many of those. So in other words, let them. What surprises me is how people you didn't think were going to come forward will come forward and surprise you if you give them a chance and let them think for themselves, and probably more important, let them feel like they're a part of the company and they're actually contributing instead of just sitting around getting a check, watching the clock. Mm-hmm. Amazing things happen when you let them do whatever the best that they can do at what job you assign them. And sometimes you have to move people around too. They're better suited for another position in the company.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, sometimes you got to move them out. That's business.
But you
so
said
along this,
you said something. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you, but I want to. There's a saying. I think it was Thomas Jefferson. I'm probably misquoting who said it, but people will work for a living, but they'll die for recognition, and that's so important when you're running an organization.
Yep. So made a lot of mistakes, haven't you?
I have.
Okay. Any of them kill you?
No, not at all.
No. And you learn that along the way, and that's why you don't mind making them anymore.
Right.
Because you know they're not going to kill you. And I guess equally important is you know you can fix them.
Absolutely.
So that's where you get alligator skin from, my listeners. That's how you get grit. You can't develop it until you've been in the battle.
Mm-hmm.
You can't develop it by reading books and listening to tapes. You got to get in the arena and start fighting it out while people are taking advantage of you and trying to beat you down and take you out. It's part of business. Nobody wants you to succeed except hopefully the people in your house and maybe your mother. The rest of them are trying to take you out. Once you come to grips with that fact and assume that everybody's lying to you and move accordingly and expect failure and expect people to do some stupid stuff sometime and get over it. Who you know who it was that said, "It's not my life, it's not my wife, why worry"?
No, I don't. Who said that?
That was Willie Mays. You can steal that one, Don. You can steal it.
Okay, I'll use it.
All right. So along the way, what's the biggest mistake you made, you think?
It's hard. Ron, I was gonna start a podcast about, the doubt and the voice in the back of our head as entrepreneurs and how we got over it. And I started talking to entrepreneurs and I realized, like, those of us who have been through it don't look at mistakes and failure the same way everybody else does. Like, I look back at what my biggest mistake was, and I can't count it as a mistake because it really made me better. It's made me more money in the long run. But ultimately, I would say that if I had to pinpoint something, the two things that I would pinpoint is, one, don't be an arrogant fool. You listen to people, get educated, find a mentor, surround yourself with people, have somebody to chase and somebody to teach, right? I mean, surround yourself with a group where you have somebody to follow and learn from and somebody in the group that you can teach. Cause that teaching is taught me more than I think anything. So, and then on top of that, I would have got out of my own way a lot sooner. I would have let go a lot sooner. I think holding on as long as I did was a mistake.
100% agreement with everything you just said. Talk less, listen more,
mm-hmm.
and let other people do what they do best and get out of the way so you can do what you do best, which is make decisions.
Right.
There's a guy I know that's got a book out on like that called "The Less I Do, the More I Make."
Right.
It's on Amazon. Yes, that guy's me. Okay.
I'm buying the book.
All right. All right. Well, listen, you are really a great guy to talk to. You got so much information that our listeners need, and I hope we're giving them a whole lot of hope here if they need hope, or excitement if they need excitement. Because honestly, we all need to get excited about something. And you're a guy that's really gone from nothing and built a business in a relatively short period of time
mm-hmm.
that anybody would be the envy of. So congratulations on that. Congratulations on your mindset that you've acquired along the way. Not everybody gets to the stage in life that you're in, unfortunately.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
You have been a pleasure to interview on this podcast, sir. I know we're going to get rave reviews about it. Sometimes we got to get together and actually shake hands and meet each other.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to.
The problem is that means I'd have to come to California, and I'm doing everything I can to avoid that.
Well, I bounce around
in Florida,
I bounce around the country from time to time. So next time I'm in Florida, I'll make sure I look you up.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you've heard from Don Costa. So before we get off of this thing, and note that if you want my new audiobook that I just released, you can go to thementorpodcast.com/free gift, and you can download my brand new audiobook called How to Be a Quick Turn Real Estate Entrepreneur in Any Economy, which gives you an idea of what Don and I do, except he does it on a much larger scale than most. So go get that book and share this podcast with everybody you know. Share it right now. Share it quickly. Let them know what kind of content we have on this thing so you can start giving back. Don, thank you again for the interview today. And again, we'll see you very soon, sir.
That's all for this edition of the Mentor Podcast. To connect with Ron and learn how you can attain financial freedom, as well as up-to-date strategies to grow and protect your wealth based on today's discussion, go to www.connectwiththementor.com.